3 disturbing true. Last day of school horror stories. 1. The waterboarding hazing that led to brain damage. 2012. Location: University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Tucker Hips, a freshman pledge for Sigma Phi Epsilon, was eager to prove himself. The fraternity had a reputation for tough hazing, and pledges were often forced into dangerous endurance challenges. One night, Hips and several other pledges were subjected to an ordeal that would change his life forever. The hazing ritual involved waterboarding, a torturous practice where water is poured over a person's face to induce the sensation of drowning. The pledges were restrained while older fraternity members dumped pitchers of water over their mouths and noses, mocking them as they struggled for air. As the pledges gasped and coughed, one of the frat brothers laughed and said, "Let's take it up a notch." Hips was singled out for an extra challenge. He was strapped to a table while gallons of water were continuously poured over his face. He thrashed and gagged, but the fraternity members held him down, thinking it was all part of the fun. Suddenly, he went completely limp. At first, the brothers assumed he was playing along, but when they checked his pulse, it was faint. They scrambled to revive him, throwing water in his face and shaking him, but his breathing was shallow. Frantic, the fraternity members finally called 911. Hips survived, but he suffered severe brain damage due to oxygen deprivation. His family later sued the fraternity, and the case revealed a horrifying pattern of abuse within the chapter. The university shut down the fraternity, but the damage was done. Hips' life was forever altered by one night of hazing gone too far. Story 2. The Bloody Yearbook. In 1998, a suburban high school in Pennsylvania ended its school year with a terrifying mystery. During a senior yearbook signing event, a girl named Amanda Hayes received a strange note inside her yearbook. It was written in red ink, and it read, "You won't make it to summer, I promise." Amanda was unsettled but assumed it was a cruel prank. However, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. The entire day, she kept seeing a hooded figure at a distance, always lingering near the school entrance or just outside a classroom window. That evening, Amanda went home and placed her yearbook on her desk. Later that night, around 2 a.m., she was woken by a scratching noise at her bedroom window. At first, she thought it was a tree branch, but then she heard a whisper, "Amanda." Terrified, she ran to wake her parents, but by the time her father checked, no one was there. The next morning, when Amanda went to grab her yearbook, she screamed. The message had changed. Instead of red ink, the words had been smeared in what appeared to be blood. "Check the closet." Amanda refused to open it. Her father did, only to find a large hunting knife stuck into the drywall. Police were called, but no fingerprints were found. The only clue was a set of muddy footprints leading from outside the window to the back fence. Amanda and her family moved out of town that summer. To this day, she has no idea who wrote that message, or what would have happened if she had checked the closet alone. Story 3. The Man in the Basement. Tyler and his 2 best friends, James and Corey, had a tradition. On the last day of school, they would always sleep over at Corey's house and play video games all night. In 2012, they were finishing 8th grade, and they were excited to kick off summer with junk food and horror movies. Corey's house was large, with an unfinished basement where they often played games. That night, as they sat in the dimly lit basement, they started hearing noises from upstairs, soft footsteps, as if someone was pacing. Corey's parents were out for the evening, so the boys assumed his older brother had come home early, but when they called out, no one answered. Suddenly, they heard something even stranger, the creak of the basement door, slowly opening. They turned off the TV and listened, heavy breathing, then the sound of bare feet slapping against the basement floor. Panic set in. James grabbed a flashlight and shined it toward the stairs. For a split second, they saw Dindel crouching in the shadows, his face obscured by long, greasy hair. He bolted up the stairs the moment the light hit him. The boys ran after him but found the front door wide open. They called Corey's parents and the police, who arrived within minutes. Upon searching the house, officers made a horrifying discovery: a small, makeshift sleeping area in the basement storage room. There was a thin mattress, crumpled food wrappers, and even a notebook filled with disturbing, rambling writings. The worst part? There were sketches of Corey and his family, as if someone had been watching them for weeks. The man was never caught. Corey's family moved out that summer, but the boys never forgot the terror of realizing they weren't alone that night.